Welcome to online instruction for stylistics. Topic for today's discussion is passives and transitives. The outline comprises of the following agenda items. The reading activity, reading two text from two newspaper. The post-reading activity we have to do as directed. Now let's take some example. I'll begin with second example first. French lorry driver blockaded the port. Now we know that the blockaded is active verb and it is active voice, and blockaded has more force than was blocked or blockaded because it is active verb, and we know that the subject is active. French lorry driver blockaded the port. So French lorry drivers are active agents in this active voice, in this active structure. So there is active subject in the active voice structure, and blockaded is active verb, and there is the object port. But in the first one we see that there is passive voice. For instance, the port was blockaded by French lorry drivers. Now the subject has been moved to the end of the sentence and it is a passive subject, passive agent. The port was blockaded by French lorry drivers. Now in this sentence, the subject or the French lorry drivers are not actively blockading the road or the port. So this is the difference. Now in the third one we see the port was blockaded. In other words, it is passive agent has been removed altogether. So there are three possibilities. One is you actively state the information, like in the second example, French lorry driver blocked the port. So the subject is doing an active role and the verb is also in active form. That is, has most force. Action is being performed very prominently. Prominent presentation of action. The first one, the port was blockaded by the French lorry drivers. The active subject has been moved to the end of the sentence to make it the passive agent. He is not actively blockading the port. And in the third one, the subject has altogether been removed. Why? Why will you remove the subject from the sum of the sentences? We will discuss in the next slides again. Now another example, that sentence number 4. An increase in membership fee was suggested. Now passively the action is being taken place and there is no subject doing anything, so no responsibility fixed on anyone. But in the next example, I suggested an increase in the membership fees. Here the verb is in active form because the subject is actively performing the action of the verb that is suggested. In the next line, I was told you have a new job. Passive voice structure here is. Then the Carol told me that you have a new job. No, this is active voice. Carol is doing action in an active way. So differentiating active and passive voice. Why do we use active voice and why do we use passive voice? What is the difference in the style? What is the difference in the effect? What is the difference on meaning? Number 1. Subject placed in the beginning of the sentence, that is in active voice, versus the subject placed at the end of the sentence, that is in passive voice. The difference is when you bring the subject to the beginning of the sentence as an active voice, then you are topicalizing it. You are making a topic, for instance, Aslam, and then you are saying something about. So Aslam stands prominent because it is the beginning of the sentence, and Aslam is doing something. The agent, the door of the action is clear to us in active voice, and it is also prominent because it is displayed in the beginning of the sentence. But when you make it a passive subject, by taking it to the object slot or to the end of the sentence, it will become passive subject and it doesn't get highlighted. For instance, the chair was broken by Aslam. Now Aslam or the doer of the action is not that important. He is not that much highlighted because he has been brought to the end of the sentence and he is not actively doing anything. So that is difference between active and passive voice. So in case you are discussing some negative situation, you are avoiding to fix responsibility on Islam, you will prefer passive voice. Now second point, if agent is deleted, as we saw in this sentence, for instance, the port was blockaded. Here the agent is removed altogether. If the agent is deleted, it means that the responsibility cannot be fixed at all, and that probably the agent is not relevant or cannot be mentioned or is deliberately not revealed. So the point is that we use passive voice and we delete the agent, and the agent is not responsible. If you want to hide him for the negative action, then you may remove the agent altogether from passive sentences. So these are differences between active voice and passive voice. Now let's discuss the two texts from the two newspapers. Dear students, during reading you have to note which of the two texts uses active voice structures more than the other. Clear which one is prone to use using passive voice structure than the other. So you have to point out the active and passive structure. So pit bull attack. Man critical after pit bull attack. A man was critically ill in hospital with facial injuries last night after being savaged by two pit bull terriers. So here, after being savaged by two pit bull terriers, instead of saying that two pit bull terriers savaged him, that is actively showing the action. Instead of doing that, the author has preferred passive voice. So being savaged has been used. Now next sentence. Police shot dead one of the dogs. Here it is active one. Frank Tempest, aged 54 of the Lincoln, was attacked as he walked to home from work. So it is again passive voice. As he walked home, this is active. Action is actively done by the victim. And next sentence. Police want people to stay indoors as 20 police officers, 6 armed, hunted for the dogs. One animal was shot and other caught and destroyed. Again passive voice, both last two clauses. Describing Mr. Tempest's injuries, police spokesman said, "You won't recognize it as a human face. It is positively horrendous." Police said the owner of the dogs could not be prosecuted as both were dead. Damn Janet Ford, folks, conservative and for Plymouth Dag, said the government should introduce compulsory dog registration. So dear students, we have seen that this text uses a lot of passive voice structures. But this one is an interesting one. This is more forceful. This is more forcefully describing the action by using more active voice structure. And we will also see that this text is highlighting the issue and making impact higher by embolding and capitalizing the captions and certain sentences in the words in the text. So it goes like this. The title is Dogs Rip a Man's Nose Off. So you see the title is even different. It is capitalized, it is emboldened. It uses the active word rip. Dogs rip a man's nose off. So dogs have been clearly made responsible, and also the issue has been highlighted. The impact has been enhanced compared the with of the title of the first man critical after pitbull attack. So here the action is stronger and vivid. Text is emboldened. Active structure has been used more importantly. This is the thing. Verb is active and it is actively showing the action. They are ripping. They are doing instead of man was ripped. Man was critical after the pitbull attack. Okay. Now let's read this text again. In addition to the selection of verbs, cops actively shot two savage pitbull terriers after they got a man face. Again got active verb and they got the dogs have been made responsible in this sentence. The escaped devil dogs tore into shift work Frank Tempest 54 and she walked home at dawn. Now again this is active voice structure. The dogs tore into. In addition to the selection of the verbs, cops actively shot two savage pitbull terriers after they gored a man's face into shreds. Again a god is active verb and they gored. The dogs have been made responsible in this text. The escaped devil dogs tore into shift worker Frank Tempest 54 as he walked home at dawn. Now again this is active voice structure. Dogs tore into. A shocked witness said the hellhounds ripped off his nose. The verb has been capitalized. It has been emboldened and it is used in active form. Shockwitter said that the hellhounds ripped off his nose, mauled his ear and tore skin off his wool. Three active verbs have been used and active structure has been used. Three strong words have been used and they are capitalized and emboldened. Here is this text. It seems to be very angry with the action or with what is happening. Okay, the dogs ambushed father for 4 francs, then dragged him screaming along the road as he struggled to fight them off. Active structure having so many active verbs showing the actions happening actively. The police sealed off this street and more, warned terrified neighbors to stay indoor and the running dog savaged a cat to death. Now all the verbs have been used in active form. In active structure, police did it actively. Police sealed off the street and active structure have many so many active verbs showing the action happening actively. And police sealed off the street and warned terrified neighbors to stay indoors as marauding dogs savaged a cat to death. Again, all the verbs have been used in active form. This is an active structure. Police did it actively. Police sealed off the street. Then 6 police marksmen with automatic rifles blasted the dogs. Blast again active verb. Believed to be a bitch and her pup with a hail of bullets. One pit bull was shot dead. Now this is passive structure. One pit bull was shot dead, the other wounded and trialed for an hour before being killed. Is passive structure that we use for passive verb. Action have been described in passive structure. And probably this is the prominent passive structure in this sentence. All the structure are in active voice. Both had escaped from a house close to Dispatch Loader Frank's home in Monks Road in Lincoln. Now again the police refused to name the owner last night and said he would not face persecution. Why this has been emboldened and why not has been capitalized. This shows that the author is concerned with the situation. He wanted to deliver important piece of information. He seemed to upset. He or she seemed to be upset with this because police refused the unlost dad and said that he would not annuity capitalized. He would not face prosecution. Probably this was an irony. What the writer hates. That is why they want to embolden this line. Now, in the last two slides, you would have structures that are used in the first paragraph, first excerpt, and then you have structures that are used by the other text. We have already discussed during reading one structure, what are active, what are passive, which newspaper is using active structure and which one is strong using the passive structure, and also provided in the book that is mentioned in the references. You can read them yourself. To the word of antique, we have post-reading activity. Revise as directed is the title for this activity. No students, you are required to do these things. Number one, compare and analyze different varieties and styles in which English sentences may communicate the same message with different effect. Number two, give oral presentation or write exam essay on the difference between active and passive voice. Number three, define transitivity, intransitive and detransitive verbs. Analyze a passage from a novel for noticing the use of voice and transitivity and the effect that they have on the style and meaning. Dear students, as conclusive remarks, let me tell you that today we have seen how different sentences and structures have impact on creating different styles in meaning. The second text was more forceful. It was using active structures to describe the actions more actively, to make the subject more active. For instance, football terriers, they were more actively doing the role. Writers were replacing responsibility on the dogs. Embolding certain words and structures, you will we see that certain words capitalized and bolded, and writers are giving their opinion. The embodying the last sentence. So the point is that the same message can be conveyed in different styles by structuring the sentences in different ways. For instance, sometimes in active voice and sometimes in passive voice, using transitivity, sometimes using direct object, sometimes using no object, and sometimes using direct and indirect object both. So these are the ways in which sentences and structures make the difference in style and have impact in the meaning making process. So we are broadly discussing grammar is a way for organizing text in specific way, and we have been attempting this for a few lectures now, and then today our specific focus was on sentence structure in which the role is played by the active or passive voice and transitivity.